Good morning, my name is David Dab. I'm the National Technology Officer for Belgium and Luxembourg at Microsoft, and today I would like to talk about the growing importance of technology in banking. I would like to start with this slide where you can see a quote from Marc Andreessen's, a leading figure in the Silicon Valley and in the tech world. And as you can read, it's software eats the world. And what Mark really wants to say here, and is entirely right, is with increasing digitalization, everything becoming digital, obviously software is becoming king, right? The name of the game is actually more softwareization of the world rather than digitization of the world. And obviously, software doesn't just eat the world, it also eats banking, right? And with everything becoming real-time, digitized, connected in banking as well, banks need to become modern technology companies. And a lot of emphasis has been put on what they sell, how they sell, and that's very important, obviously. But equally important is how they actually deliver these products, how they produce services in a digital manner, what's under the hood, including also how they comply, is getting very important from a digital point of view. So let's look under the hood and what it means to being digital under the hood. Well, it means producing code, putting software that delivers client benefits. Now, you can see on this page a number of metrics, of performance metrics in terms of efficiency and effectiveness of producing code in a typical bank. And as you can see, it's not very efficient, right? The part of IT spent on transformative work is typically very small. The portion of time that engineers spend on producing code is also not gigantic. And if you look at the typical pyramid or the mix of skills and experience in engineer, the talent mix, you tend to have a lot of junior people that are in a learning mode, and all of that is not very efficient in terms of producing code, which actually is the core of being digital. So let's compare this to what the best in class do. Here on this slide, you can see what best in class players do, their performance level in terms of producing code that delivers client benefit. You can see the different dimensions, in particular the part of IT spent on transformative work, and you can see that there is an opportunity, I would say a need, to dramatically increase the performance of many banks in terms of producing code in a very efficient manner to deliver clients benefits. With this slide, I would like to clarify that producing code is more than just producing lines of code, and then increasingly it's going to be the ability to leverage code and actually entire solutions and their outcomes, software produced by others. And in this case, as you can see on the picture, you have a Volvo car, and the passengers and the driver of that car can benefit of the outcomes of softwares from Apple, in this case, from their basically Apple phone, which they can benefit while driving the car. And basically the engineers, the Volvo engineers, embedded those outcomes in the passenger experience. And the same applies to bank. Here's an example of a company called Duco. They provide reconciliation services as a service. It's a software as a service solution which allow banks to better perform reconciliation activities in their back offices. And again, that's going to be part of becoming truly digital players. Now I would like to make a transition to the topic of the cloud, which is actually the technology, the infrastructure to become digital in a serious manner, right? To produce code that deliver customer benefit in a professional, in a modern, professional, and efficient way. And as you know, cloud, exists in different form. There is infrastructure as a service, which is basically virtualization of data centers. You have platform as a service, which is a great place to actually produce solutions, produce software, do data analytics and all these type of things. And you have also software as a service, which basically delivers entire solutions, software-based solution. And basically what the cloud does, it's to bring automation at scale, scalability, elasticity, bring also a dramatic shift in economics from capex to opex, variabilization of cost, but also service-based. You pay as you go, you pay for what you consume, right? And that's what the cloud is. And there are a lot of misunderstanding about what the cloud is. In particular, some people tend to view the cloud, or the hyperscale cloud, which is different from standard cloud, public cloud, as just racks in a hangar somewhere in a warehouse where you have basically computers like you can see on this picture. And obviously it's part of what it is, but there is a lot more. Maybe a good analogy to see why and how hyperscale cloud is a lot more than racks of servers in a building somewhere is the analogy of car manufacturing. And on this slide, you can see a picture from an Henry Ford factory, the early days of mass production of cars. And Henry Ford was in the business of producing and selling cars, but actually, or to some extent, his real business, the real innovation that he did was more to build factories and production systems that could produce cars at scale. That was his actually distinctiveness and its core activity, building factories, which, by the way, produce cars. And to some extent, it's the same for hyperscale clouds, right? It delivers virtualized instances of servers and other things. But what is really key is what's underneath, the entirely automated systems that are able to do that at scale for millions of consumers, millions of servers, and so on and so on. Here you can see the modern equivalent of an Henry Ford factory. In this case, it's a production line of Tesla cars. And by the way, one way to look at a Tesla car is not as a car, but actually as a software which has wheels, right? Which is true to some extent. And as you can see on this picture, everything is automated, robotized, and therefore softwareized, if you allow me. It's all about software. And that leads to the question, if we go back to banking, what is the modern factory for a bank to produce softwares that is going to deliver banking services? What is the right place to get the tooling, the equipment, to actually produce code that deliver customer benefit in banking? Well, the place to produce code in an efficient manner as a sophisticated digital player, the only place to do that, it's the cloud. This is where it happens. It's the place where modern DevOps happen, where you can not only develop codes, but put it in production in a very efficient manners, bringing at the same time multiple benefits in terms of speed, quality, risk reduction, and cost. And the reason why you get all these benefits at the same time, there are not anymore trade-offs. It's again thanks to the level of automation and standardization of the cloud, which removes all sorts of situations that are root causes of inefficiency, whether related to speed, cost, or many other dimensions. So the only place to develop code in a modern way, it's the cloud. Here I would like to briefly zoom in an important benefit of hyperscale cloud in banking, which is the area of compliance. Compliance is obviously extremely important in banking. And here, thanks to the automation of cloud, there are multiple benefits that are often underestimated and that are quite essential. And the reason is, again, thanks to automation, because the cloud is highly automated, it removes automatically opportunities for errors, mistakes, deviations. You can set up processes that are compliant by design, but also thanks to automation, it's possible to check the outcome, the expected outcome of your policy all the time, not just from time to time audits. They also check the actual results, right? Whether you obtain what your objectives versus controlling the application of processes that are just supposed to bring the outcome that are expected. So huge benefits, not to be overlooked, is actually extremely important in banking. We've just seen the importance of cloud in terms of producing code efficiently, but also in terms of compliance. I would like to add a third reason why cloud is going to play such an important role in banking. And the reason here is the emergence of a new database and model-based economy, which will happen actually in the cloud. And the reason it's going to happen in the cloud is due to the size of the data set, the need to leverage AI, machine learning, which again happen in the cloud, but also because part of that new data economy and model economy will be based on sharing data, putting data in common between different actors in data spaces and so on and so on. And the place where this is going to happen is the cloud. And the reason it's going to happen in the cloud is thanks to enabling encryption technologies. I mean, today we already have encryption of data at rest when it's not used. We have encryption of data in transit when it's moving from one place to the other. But today, with mature technology that enables to continue to protect and maintain encryption of data when it's being used, when it's in process, right? And this is obviously important in terms of strengthening the cybersecurity posture, because at no single moment the data is in clear, but also that technology enables new things. It allows different banks to put in common their data without disclosing their data to the other parties, to perform new things that they couldn't do before. For instance, in the area of sharing information to fight against fraud and crime. I mean, this is transformative. It's new technology. We are probably at the 5th generation of that technology. We've just announced recently at Microsoft, the deployment of the next generation based on new AMD and Intel chips. So this is going to play a very important role. And again, this is happening in the cloud. And maybe to close, here are two examples of companies that are already leveraging confidential computing, the ability to maintain data encrypted all the time, including when it's being processed. You have RBC, obviously in banking. You have other players like Signal. This is a technology that is mature, that is available, that is in production. So it's not something that is for the future. It's already today. And again, that's one more reason why the cloud is going to play such an important role for banking. So maybe to summarize the main points that I presented today, becoming a digital, seriously digital for a bank is essential. It means producing code in an efficient manner, code that produce customer value, and the place to do that, the only place is modern hyperscale clouds, and therefore a key differentiator between successful banks and less successful banks along their journey to digitization and the modern data economy will be their ability to leverage the cloud to become true technology players. Thank you very much.